Gene Hackman, one of the greatest actors of all time. A man who once captivated millions of hearts with timeless masterpieces like Unforgiven, The French Connection, and Superman, has now become the centerpiece of a tragic, twist-filled tale. The news of his sudden death, alongside his wife Betsy Arakawa, in their own home has sent shockwaves rippling across the globe. What seemed at first like a simple story, a tragedy of old age, hides layers of mystery no one has yet unraveled. Strange new clues keep surfacing. Witness statements clash with contradictions. Baffling evidence piles up, and unanswered questions swirl, turning this case into a lightning rod of fascination. Just recently, a bombshell revelation from the FBI flipped the script entirely. What truth lies behind the deaths of this famous couple? What really happened inside that quiet house in Santa Fe, New Mexico? What secrets are still waiting to be dragged into the light? Join me as we rewind the clock. Back to that fateful day, February 26, 2025. Hackman, a name that once shook the silver screen of Hollywood with The French Connection and Unforgiven, chose to step away from the dazzling lights of Tinseltown nearly 20 years ago, retreating to a peaceful life with his beloved wife, Betsy Arakawa, a 65-year-old classical pianist. Together, they lived in a cozy little home in Santa Fe, their days seemingly painted like a perfect picture. But then, one day, it all came to a silent, horrifying end. On February 26, 2025, a maintenance worker arrived at Gene Hackman's house for a routine check. Just like any other day, but something felt off the moment he got there. The front door was wide open, and not a sound stirred the air. After knocking repeatedly with no sign of Betsy answering as she usually would, he peered through the window, and the ghastly scene before him froze him in his tracks. In a state of panic and terror, tears streaming down his face, he dialed 911, begging the police to rush to the scene as fast as possible after spotting Betsy Arakawa's lifeless body, followed by Gene Hackman.
I think we just found one deceased person inside a house.
At the scene, an eerie stillness hung over everything, pierced only by the heavy stench of death that filled the air. Police found Hackman's body in the front hall, while Arakawa's was discovered in the bathroom. Both bodies showed severe signs of decomposition, suggesting they'd been dead for days. Strangely, one dog was found dead inside a closet near Betsy's body, while two others were still alive, wandering other parts of the house. Initial investigations revealed no signs of forced entry, no wounds on the victims, and no missing valuables. At first glance, it looked like the natural passing of an elderly couple. But as investigators dug deeper into the true cause of their deaths, they quickly realized this was no simple case. This wasn't random. So, what really happened? Could there be a chilling secret buried within the walls of this house? Stick with me as we dive deeper in the next part. And don't forget to drop your thoughts in the... A case that seemed straightforward at first glance. But the deeper the police dug, the more anomalies they uncovered. Near Betsy Arakawa's body, investigators found prescription pills scattered across the bathroom floor, medications for high blood pressure and thyroid issues. Why were these pills strewn everywhere? Could an overdose have been the cause of death? Or was this a desperate medical emergency, with the victim scrambling for pills in a frantic bid to save herself? Theories started piling up. Early on, speculation swirled around the deaths of the Hackman couple. Authorities, bystanders, even Hackman's own daughter, leaned toward carbon monoxide, poisoning as the culprit. But that theory was swiftly debunked after a sweep of the scene revealed no signs of a gas leak anywhere in the house. Medically speaking, ruling out CO poisoning made even more sense when considering the telltale symptoms. Victims typically suffer uncontrollable behavior as oxygen-starved brains mimic drunkenness, often paired with crippling headaches. If the pills scattered near Arakawa had been painkillers, like aspirin or ibuprofen, CO poisoning might have stayed on the table. But they weren't. They were prescription meds for blood pressure and thyroid conditions, suggesting she was reaching for routine treatment, not battling co-related symptoms. With no gas leak at the scene and the specific nature of the drugs tied to her known conditions, the CO poisoning hypothesis was dead in the water. Then came a jaw-dropping breakthrough. Investigators pulled data from Gene Hackman's pacemaker, and it showed his heart had stopped beating on February 17, 2025, a full 9 days before his body was found. This critical piece of evidence let the police narrow down the timeline of their deaths and raised a massive question. What about Betsy Arakawa? If Hackman died on the 17th, when did she pass? Who went first? And why didn't anyone notice sooner? News of the bizarre deaths of the Hackman couple spread like wildfire, leaving people stunned and scrambling for answers about what happened to Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa in their final moments. Preliminary findings revealed that neighbors hadn't seen the couple for 2 weeks prior to the discovery of their bodies. 2 weeks. For a pair who cherished their privacy. That wasn't entirely unusual, but it begged the question, why didn't anyone check on them sooner? Especially Hackman's own children. How could they leave their elderly parents unattended long enough for this tragedy to unfold? The positioning of the bodies offered police some tantalizing clues. Hackman was found in a room near the kitchen, where he often changed his shoes. Meanwhile, Betsy Arakawa lay on her side on the bathroom floor, next to an open bottle of prescription pills scattered everywhere, and a space heater toppled near her head. But what threw investigators for a loop and sent the case careening into another dead end was this: a dog found dead inside a closet near Betsy, while 2 other dogs were still alive in different corners of the house. What happened to that dog? And why? The dead dog looked like it had hidden in there for safety, or to escape something terrifying. The other 2 were dehydrated, exhausted, but still alive. One investigator remarked, "What killed one dog while the others clung to life?" Theories started flying. After consulting medical experts, the investigative team floated a hypothesis. On February 17th, Hackman likely suffered a sudden, massive heart attack, as his pacemaker data confirmed, causing him to collapse abruptly in that room near the kitchen. Hearing the loud thud, Betsy rushed to the source of the noise. Finding her husband crumpled on the floor, she immediately checked on him. When he didn't respond, she bolted to the bathroom, rifling through medications to save him. But in that frantic moment, something went wrong. A stress-induced heart attack? A flare-up of her own condition? The pills scattered around her body told a story. She tried. But then she fell. Yet this theory doesn't tie up all the case's strange loose ends, like the dog in the closet. Some speculated it might have been sick beforehand and sought a quiet place to hide. But a darker idea crept in. Could it have ingested something toxic? Something tied to the couple's deaths? Though tests found no poison in the house, the mystery still sends chills down the spine. Then there's the maintenance worker's 911 call, a lingering point of contention. At first, he screamed in panic, "I found a dead person." But seconds later, his trembling voice corrected, "No, it's 2. A simple slip from shock? Or did he see something he didn't dare say?" Police dug into his background and found nothing suspicious. He's clean. A longtime worker there. But that slip-up remains an unexplained puzzle piece. The deeper we dig, the clearer it becomes. This is no ordinary accident. Investigators delved into the couple's medical histories. Gene Hackman, at 95, had long battled heart issues, relying on a pacemaker for years. Betsy, 65, managed high blood pressure and thyroid problems. The autopsy report officially listed Hackman's cause of death as cardiac arrest, aligning with the pacemaker data. Arakawa's autopsy, though, was murkier. While medical examiners noted signs of heart trouble, they couldn't say for sure if her death was natural or ripple effect of the stress from trying to save her husband. The report also mentioned evidence of a possible fall. As for the dead dog, its necropsy revealed dehydration as the cause. It had been trapped in the closet for days without water. The mysterious deaths of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa have unleashed a tidal wave of shock. Not just through the entertainment world but across the quiet Santa Fe community as well. Though he stepped away from the spotlight in 2004, Hackman remains a beloved and revered legend in the public's heart. His iconic roles, like Jimmy Popeye Doyle in The French Connection and Little Bill Daggett in Unforgiven, both earning him Golden Oscars, cemented his immortal place in cinematic history. Betsy Arakawa, though lesser known, was a gifted classical pianist who stood by Hackman's side for over 4 decades. They'd been together since the early 1980s, tying the knot in 1991, sustaining a bond that spanned more than 40 years. Despite a 30-year age gap, their love became Hollywood's most enduring symbol, a timeless devotion that seemed unbreakable. Only to end in suspicion and sorrow in Santa Fe. Even with a thorough investigation, the questions swirling around their deaths keep fueling debate. Many believe it's a tragic string of natural events, but plenty of others suspect too much remains shrouded in shadow. Why did their secluded home turn into the stage for such a bizarre sequence of events? What's with the hazy 911 call? What's the meaning behind the death of their beloved dog while the other survived? And why the gap in timing between their deaths? The biggest question lingers. What happened to Arakawa? Why didn't Betsy call for help? The phone was working, fully charged, so what stopped her? Did she truly pass before Hackman? Or is there a deeper twist lurking beneath the surface? Every tiny detail seems to carry its own layer of mystery, plunging the case further into the fog. But the story doesn't end here. The FBI just uncovered a chilling secret, the real reason behind Betsy's death, and even more terrifying, it's a danger any of us could face. Could this be the final key to unraveling their deaths? And, more crucially, how can we shield ourselves and our families from this lethal threat? Check out the next video to find out. Because what we've discovered will leave you unable to believe your own ears. Hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we drop the latest investigative updates. And if you've got a theory about what happened to Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa, drop it in the comments below. Sometimes, the sharpest insights come from viewers just like you. See you in the next video.